Welcome into the Nashville Game Changers podcast. I'm your host, Jill Jelnick. With March Madness right around the corner, we thought it might be a good time to bring someone in that knows a thing or two when it comes to playing in the madness. Please help me welcome to the show former Vanderbilt star, also former coach, also a trick shot enthusiast. I'm talking about the one and only Drew Maddux, Nashville native. Drew, I'm so excited to have you here on the show. Thanks for coming on the Nashville Game Changers podcast.
Well, Jill, it's an honor. And so thank you for inviting me. And I love anything that represents game changer. I just love that. I mean, we were created to be game changers, to be difference makers. And so how cool, even the title of the podcast that we get to sit under the umbrella of, I love it. So thank you for letting me be here today.
I love that. No, I appreciate it. And when we created the show brand, the theme, the name, obviously Game Changers, we wanted to make sure, of course, yes, having that sports focus, right? Game changers in the game, on the field, whatever diamond you want to call it, but also game changers having impact on the community. And I think that's why you're so perfect for this show.
Thank you.
Because Drew, after your fantastic career at Vanderbilt, which I can't wait to get into, you continue to give back to the Nashville community. Head coach at CPA, men's basketball for a long time, helped take them to the state tournament. I know you do a lot of public speaking as well. And then you're also, I didn't even mention in your intro, TV analyst on my TV 30, SEC Plus.
Yes.
You go back to Memorial and help call games all the time. I mean, talk about having a long-lasting impact. It's hard to think about basketball in Nashville and not think of Drew Maddux.
Well, you're so kind. I think I have incredible parents, first of all. So let me just say that have given me a vision for waking up every day and chasing with all you have within you the fulfillment of your purpose and fulfillment of maximizing your potential. But if it just stopped there, then it would be so selfish. Ultimately, we exist on this earth to give our gift away. And so as we maximize our potential and as we step into more and more of who we're becoming, we're able to see the world around us in a different way and go be a game changer, go be a difference maker, go and make sure that you're making the impact that was created just for you and to utilize your gifts and abilities to make the world a better place. And so ultimately, that's what I try to do every single day. And my parents were incredible at giving us that vision and creating an environment and an atmosphere in our house that we could pursue with all we had within us, the gifts and abilities that God had uniquely made us for.
Speaking of game changers and your parents, 3 generations of Vanderbilt Commodores. Tell me a little bit about your family history and wow, I mean, talk about anchored down with the Maddux family. People told bedtime stories about other heroes. My father would tell bedtime stories of incredible giants that were Vanderbilt student athletes. And so Vanderbilt just was such a real part of the existence by which we operated in our household. It started with my grandfather, of course. He played football and basketball at Vanderbilt. And because of the war, he went in the early 40s, went and served in the war, and then came back and graduated in 1948 there at Vanderbilt. My dad went on to play basketball there, graduated in 1973, 25 years later, and then I graduated in 1998, 25 years later. So 50 years after my grandfather, 25 years after my father. When I was 5 years old, when asked by my kindergarten teacher, Miss Sandy Venable at Nanny Berry Elementary School in Hendersonville, Tennessee, there was a lot of arts and crafts on the table. And she asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And a lot of people, little students were drawing astronauts and policemen or firemen or whatever. I drew myself in a 45 Vanderbilt basketball uniform. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, even as a little boy. That picture was on my mirror my entire life growing up. And so every single day I would wake up and I would have that vision of what I hoped to become, which was a Vanderbilt basketball player. So I had that vision, I had that dream, I chased it with all I had with an incredible work ethic that once again, my father had displayed. And I did it in a community of people that really believed in me, that fostered that belief. And so the incredible story, Jill, was my very first game in 1994 in November, we played Samford University. And after the game, I came back up on the court and my mom had that picture in her purse and she opened it up and unfolded that piece of paper after I'd come back up on the court. And she said, the dream had now become the reality. And I got to exist within the story of what I once hoped for. I therefore was actually living it in reality. And we ripped the picture up because the vision once again had become this incredible opportunity to be in present moment and to actually live it out.
full circle.
Yes.
Incredible full circle moment. Wow. Okay. So family and basketball hand in hand. There was no question you were going to be a Commodore, but to your credit, you put in the work, you worked hard. You were also very good, Drew. And for the record, still leads the program all-time career minutes played. 4,123, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that. That's incredible.
Numbers, I got the numbers. And then also, you are still tied for the most career steals, 214.
Yeah.
I forget the gentleman that you are.
Frank Secker.
Yes.
Who I played with at Vanderbilt as well. Yes.
Okay. So we heard a little bit about young Drew growing up to be the Commodore. College basketball, Drew. What was your mindset? And that was... And just for reference, that was 95 to 98.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's
okay.
correct.
That was a pretty good. That was a pretty good period for Vanderbilt basketball.
Yeah, we were really good, and the SEC at large was really good. So in my years, Jill, there 3 of the 4 national champions in the NCAA tournament bracket came from the SEC. So the SEC was loaded with talent, incredible coaching, unbelievable players in those years. And Vanderbilt, we had really good teams too. We were fortunate to play in 1 NCAA tournament, but we were right on the bubble like every single year, and just maybe needed 1 or 2 more quality wins to get in, but was blessed to play in March Madness my junior year. Mm-hmm. But playing at Vanderbilt was the fulfillment of a dream. And so playing at Memorial Gym, playing in the SEC, playing in the Nashville community, especially in those years, there was no Titans, there was no Predators, and the coverage was just incredible of Vanderbilt basketball. It was a unifying force for the city. It really was an incredible opportunity to play in front of 15,000 every single night we played in that place. And it was magical. It taught me what it meant to have to work really hard, to earn your spot every single day, to know that you have a role and a part to play that's unique, and how to be a star in your role, and how to really seek ways to maximize that, and to benefit the good of the group with what you have as an individual contributor. And I learned that every single day in practice. I learned it in games. How to overcome adversity. How do you overcome challenge? How do you respond to what just happened, good or bad? How do you move on to the next play in sub-second response times? All of that was being played out in my college career there. Had incredible coaches. Jan Van Bredekhoff was an incredible coach and mentor for me. I learned so much from him, and even utilized a lot of what he did in my life as I became a coach at CPA for 15 years. Had incredible assistant coaches that poured into me. The Vanderbilt administration and staff, it just was something that was just so special to know that these people cared so deeply for you, and they wanted you to be successful, and they had set up all of these things around you to set the table for you to walk through and into the pathway of success. It's just something that I will never take for granted. And that's why I'm still so passionate about the university. And it's important to me to continue to be an ambassador of that place, because it was just so incredible, the love that I received from it.
I love that you bring up your passion and your love for Vanderbilt. It's so clear just talking to you. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm like, yeah, anchor down, let's go. But I think it's also so interesting that right now, currently, Vanderbilt athletics is arguably one of the greatest eras when it comes to sports with the Commodores, whether it's football, being on in the conversation for the playoff, right? And what Clarkley is doing over there, Shea Ralph, oh my goodness, Michaela Blakes with the women's team getting the number 2 seed in the tournament. They're going to do some damage in March, and then what Mark Byington has done as well. Oh yeah, you have Tim Corbin, who's been who has 2 national championships under his belt. It's an incredible time to be a part of the Vanderbilt athletics community. But having been there in the beginning, when I know the university has been around since the start of the century, right? 1900. So is the basketball program. But being able to play and be a part of the athletics community in that time, and seeing what it's grown into now, how much pride do you take in that?
Oh my goodness. I mean, just beyond our wildest imagination. I mean, because like you said, you mentioned there have been programmatic segmentations of success, but not comprehensive excellence that we're experiencing right now. And so I live by the mantra that everything rises and falls with leadership. And so I think, Candace Story-Lee, Chancellor Diedemeyer, I think it starts there and the Board of Trustees and the commitment to athletics. Clearly, we've seen the resources. Clearly, we've seen, the NIL budget. Clearly, we've seen even the facility enhancements and all the things. But I still think it comes down to people.
And her ability and the university's ability to continue to attract incredible leaders. And you named them. I mean, just think about those people, and you could go down the board in the Olympic sports and other sports as well. And what that starts to do is starts to attract the type of student athlete that you really want to represent the university. And so when you look across the board at Byington, at Ralph, at Corbin, at Lee, and on and on and on, you could not have a better lineup of people that are leading your programs. You could not have a better group of student athletes representing the university as well. And then, oh, by the way, the excellence and the success on top of all of it, I mean, it's just, it's beyond anything that we could ever hope for, that we are living in modern day and getting to experience what we see.
Yeah, and hopefully just the beginning.
That's
right?
exactly right.
Continue to
That's
build,
exactly
continue
right.
to build. You're listening to the Nashville Game Changers podcast with former Vanderbilt basketball star Drew Maddux. We'll be right back after this. Drew, after your time with Vanderbilt, did you know you wanted to get into coaching? Or what was your game plan after you knew eventually you were going to have to hang it up?
Yeah, I did not know that I wanted to coach. I thought I was going to pursue, and be involved in the business community. And Nashville being the Silicon Valley of for-profit healthcare, I utilized a lot of the relationships that I made at Vanderbilt, and I got a job that I was not qualified for based on the references that I was able to put on my resume. Another benefit of playing at Vanderbilt in front of incredible people that are so influential. And so I was with a healthcare technology company for many, many years, had a ton of fun, learned so much. That company went public. We had a lot of success with that company. So I was 27, 28 years old. And Jill, I was in every way by the world standards winning in terms of when you looked on the surface at what my life looked like. The problem was I was leaving every single Sunday or Monday morning and coming back Thursday night. I was traveling so much in those years. I had a wife who I love dearly. Talking about a game changer, Tara Maddux, been married 28 years. We had 3 small daughters at the time. So I was losing at home. And I just was one of those people. You've heard me speak about my father, my parents. They were active participants and investors in my stories. They were not spectators. And I just felt like I was missing out. And our oldest, Emma, was starting kindergarten at a school called Christ Presbyterian Academy on 2323 Old Hickory Boulevard out in southern Nashville. And it was a place that we had fallen in love with. And so in order to maybe meet more of the people in the community, I volunteered and coached 7th and 8th grade basketball while I was still at my healthcare job. And we would work practices around my schedule and figure out ways early in the morning, or if we worked on the weekends or whatever. And I fell in love with coaching. I just knew I was born to coach. I was born to create an experience that was unique, that you could pursue excellence, but it could also be transformative in the lives of the kids you served. And you could create this shared experience of pursuit of excellence, but we wouldn't leave their hearts behind what we were trying to do in order to just achieve an outcome. And I fell in love with it. That same year, I read a book called Season of Life, which was written by Jeffrey Marks about a coach named Joe Ehrman, who was a former Baltimore Colt, retired, coaching at the Gilman School in Baltimore, Maryland. And I read what he was doing with this program. I said, yes, that right there is something that I can really get behind. As just the story would unfold, after I coached that year, the head basketball job came open at CPA. Position in administration came open in the development office and admissions advancement role, which is my other passion as well. So it was like this job was just created for me that I could go really advance the mission of the school, and then at 3:00 go coach basketball. And so, yeah, I left behind a healthcare job, sat in front of our CEO in the downtown Atlanta Marriott Marquis, told him I was going to leave and go coach high school basketball. He thought I was crazy. He said, "What are you doing? Do you know what you're leaving behind?" I said, "Yeah, I know what I'm leaving behind, but I clearly know what I'm running towards." Mm-hmm. And I did that in 2006 and 7 was my first year there at CPA. And for the next 15 years, had the time of my life getting to do that, which was simply incredible.
And also more family time.
That's right. So I got to be there.
And
then just in and through that story too. I mean, we've adopted 2 little boys and landed back in the United States December 15th, 2010. Well, even that community and the exposure to the world through global mission efforts and other things. Like just that school, it doesn't just live geographically at that location. It literally is pursuing making the world a better place. And so they're just like opening our minds, opening our hearts to what there's more out there. We even brought 2 boys back into our home that I still say, if I wouldn't have said yes to CPA, that would have never happened as well. So our family became complete with 5 kids now instead of just the 3. And all of our girls have graduated. We have 2 boys there that are still juniors. And so, yeah, that place is incredibly special to us as well.
Isn't it funny how when one door closes and another one can
That's
just
right.
open, even without you planning it or the timing of it? It's just hearing your story and what it's brought your family. Not only is it so inspiring, but it's also a credit to who you are and
Thank you.
staying positive, being kind to others, working well with others and wanting to be invested in the community for the right reasons,
Yes.
not because you eventually wanted the basketball head coaching job, but you wanted to be there for your family
That's
and the
right.
community.
Yes.
That's something I don't know if we're talking enough about that.
Yeah, and it just shows too, like, you just never know what this opportunity is setting you up for the next opportunity. And you saying yes in this moment in time may completely come back and boomerang blessing you in a way that you never would have even imagined. And, God used a 7th and 8th grade basketball team, these little boys, 12 little boys, to really unlock, this treasure that was in my heart that was in front of me. And so it was just that experience that allowed that to happen. And in and through that, other opportunities opened up. I partnered with Nike in 2007 and 8. We've been partnered now with Nike for 17 years, hosting our basketball camps. We still do that to this day. Over 30,000 kids have come through our basketball camps. The broadcasting piece, the opportunity to get to do games and to meet people. And, several of my buddies even that will coach on sidelines in March Madness, I met all because of the game of basketball. It just has created this opportunity and a lifestyle that's just so beautiful. But it all started by just saying yes, just a simple yes and saying, I'm signing up for that. You just never know what's around the corner.
Yeah. So five kids in total, potential basketball stars in the future.
Yeah,
Yes.
well,
yeah.
Not really. Here's the cool part, though. So my daughters, so Emma, my oldest, who went all the way through CPA, is back teaching 3rd grade there now. And just got married last summer, of which I got to officiate their wedding, which was the great thrill of my life. My daughter, Ava, is a senior at Samford University. Remember, back to the first game I played at Vanderbilt. She's at Samford and just got hired to come back at CPA, and she's going to start teaching and coaching basketball there next year. So we're excited about that. And then, of course, my boys, they do play basketball, but I don't think college basketball is in their future, but they certainly love to play.
But they love the sport just like their dad.
That's right.
Was that important for you and your wife Tara to adopt? Was that something you guys always wanted to do, or did that just happen eventually?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think adoption to me was growing up a foreign concept. I think it was more of something she had connected with because of her family's story and her origin of her family and the way that they approached it, because they had some family members that had been a part of the adoption community. When we came together, I don't think it was something that we necessarily intended to do. We did know our family was not complete with 3 girls. We didn't know what it was going to look like. We didn't know if we were being called more into foster or domestic adoption or international adoption, but we knew there was more, that our family was not quite complete. And so back to it, just in and around the community of CPA and the Nashville community and just people we met, and just this step connecting you to that step and this dot connects you to that one. All of a sudden you look back and you see these people that were brought into your story for such a time as this. And in and through and around those people, they really shaped us and inspired us, I would say, to move into that realm.
That's awesome. Stay with us. You're listening to the Nashville Game Changers podcast with former Vanderbilt basketball star Drew Maddux. We'll be right back after this. Drew, before we switch gears to the SEC men's basketball tournament, I feel like we've said Memorial Magic a couple times now in this conversation. What is your top Memorial Magic memory?
Oh, wow. Gosh, I have so many.
Yeah.
So many.
Or
Oh,
maybe
my goodness.
top, if you can't narrow it down, top two.
I would say I always go back to first moments when you really get to experience it. I don't think it's something I'll ever forget. And we had so many incredible wins and incredible nights in that place. Of course, beating Tennessee and number 1 ranked teams and those kind of things. But I would say the very first time I played a part in impacting a Memorial Magic moment was my freshman year. We were playing Alabama. I think they were ranked 3rd in the country. They had 3 first-round NBA picks on that team. It was our first SEC game of that particular season. Once again, I was a freshman. I was scrapping and clawing, just trying to get into the rotation and play a part, and made some plays coming down the stretch in that game, made some shots, made some baskets. And you could go back and fact check me on it, but I'm not sure how many points or what necessarily happened. But we went on to win in double overtime in that game. And I wouldn't say it was a buzzer beater moment, but it was one of those moments like the buzzer goes off, you're exhausted, but the whole place was just like one of those places that just, they almost carried us on their shoulders that entire game. And I would say that game, just the first moment, because I'd watched it my whole life, but to be on the court and to be a part of it, that's one moment that I'll never forget.
You're like, this is exactly,
This is
the moment I came
That's
here
right.
for,
That's
what
it.
my grandpa,
Yes.
what my dad told me about.
Yes.
Now you got to experience that. That's pretty
yeah,
remarkable.
we've been season tickets our whole life. So we still we have season tickets in section 2B, row 4, seats 1 through 6. My entire life I would sit on my dad's knee. I was a ball boy. I would sit on a stool beneath the goal. And so I would wipe up the sweat on the floor and just just dream of those days. I've seen the courts rush. I've seen us beat number 1 teams. I've seen buzzer beaters take place. But then to actually be in uniform and to be a part of making the moment happen, it was just, obviously so special.
Yeah. And now head coach Mark Byington in his second year with Vanderbilt. Wow. What an incredible turnaround he's done in such a short period of time in an era of college athletics that is so tumultuous and capricious. He somehow has figured out a formula in 2 years and has this team looking like they could make definitely a deep run in March. Fingers crossed for Vanderbilt, right? Obviously, the SEC men's basketball tournament's this week. They got a top 4 seed. Fourth seed in the
Which is a double bye.
Yes, they don't play till Friday.
That's right.
And if the Vols win Thursday, they get to play the Vanderbilt Commodores Friday. Yes, I know. I feel like those were some of the best matchups. Vols won the first time.
That's right.
Vandy got them the second time. But when you look at what Coach Byington has done in such a short time, how has he been able to do that?
Yeah, first of all, just so thankful for him. I mean, just so proud that he's our coach. I think he's, as you said, done an incredible job. I've known Mark Byington for over 15 years. Going back to when he was the head coach at Georgia Southern, he signed one of our players from Christ Presbyterian Academy. And so he had traveled many times and sat in my office, I would say numerous times. And a kid named Jake Alsmiller, whose dad played at Vanderbilt, by the way, went on to play at Georgia Southern for Mark Byington. So very much had exposure to the specialness of him as a coach. Had great success there, went on to James Madison, had great success there as well. And so I think, what has happened is it's like modern day basketball meets traditional concepts with him. And what I mean by that is you mentioned the unpredictability of this environment that we're in. He's leveraged all the right things of how you can immediately turn a program around pretty quickly if you figure it out. And he's figured out how to put a value on players, how you evaluate talent, how you assign even dollar values to that, how you build a roster and how you construct it and all of those things. But then he also still has this intersection of traditional sports and basketball usage of concepts of traditional value things, of still not compromising teaching manhood things. Of really driving in and through the program opportunities to teach and to not be shy, like I hear and see around the country of holding kids accountable anymore, like letting the players dictate what goes on. He still is clearly an authority and he clearly has established the boundaries and but allows some freedom within it. And so I just think he's a beautiful example of a modern day coach in this environment and what is possible. And certainly he's an incredible human being. Character, integrity, leads the right way. And he's just done an amazing job.
Yeah, so many things you have to check when it comes to being a head coach in today's college athletic world, regardless of what sport it is. evaluating talent, I think, is something that he quickly established and showcased right away. And a bunch of great local kids on the roster as well, right? And isn't that so? I have to imagine for you too, being Nashville native, playing at Vanderbilt, to see kids growing up here wanting to stay here. Jared Curtis, the top quarterback recruit in the country, flipped from Georgia to Vanderbilt. Like that says so much about where Vanderbilt is right now.
I agree. It makes my heart sing. It really does. And, you think about Jared Curtis, you think about Ty Tanner. Obviously, we're here we are, first team All-SEC, just named yesterday as well-deserved honor. But he's made himself into a first-round pick. I think it's just incredible that Vanderbilt now, for so many years, kids grew up and they wanted to play east of us about 3 hours.
South
wherever. Yeah. But now it's like, no, I can see myself there. This place has everything that you would ever want or hope for in terms of a collegiate experience. And so, yes, it really does. I mean, keeping local talent and building a fence around the mid-state area, I think, is critically important for the success and the connection to the community as well.
So exciting to see. So exciting to cover. I'm just going to say I love cover. It's been really fun covering Vanderbilt athletics. And to your point, even though we now have a pro football team, we have the Titans, we have the Preds. It's a completely new sports scene. Yeah. Vanderbilt is still at the forefront of our sports media coverage. So that's always fun, especially this time of year, March Madness. So excited about this SEC men's basketball tournament this week. We all know when it comes to, especially I could think the conference tournament, it's are you hot? Can you build on that momentum? Sometimes the double bye is questionable because you haven't been playing and other teams you're facing are coming in hot, right? Yeah. Here's my question: when it comes to playing in the conference tournament, what is the biggest key for a team like Vanderbilt that is coming off a double bye, wanting to really try to make an impression? Because it could get them an even bigger seed in the NCAA tournament.
Such a great point. And, we just saw it just last week. I hate to say it, but with Coach Shea Ralph's team,
Vanderbilt women,
they got the double bye, and Ole Miss, who is a team that has given them some fits here the last couple of years. It's just a bad matchup. Had played the night before, had a little more momentum coming into that matchup, and got off to a great start. And then Vanderbilt was chasing from behind and made a great comeback, but it was just
almost a record-breaking comeback.
Amazing, but just too little, too late. But
correct.
So to your point, there is good and bad. Like there, as you wait till Friday, a team obviously can get momentum. I would say having fresh legs really does help. And so for Vanderbilt, like if you go back, and I forget the stat, and once again we could get somebody historically check us, but I think the winner of the SEC tournament has had a double bye at least, I don't know, I mean, I would say 90+% of the time. I mean, I think it's necessary. It's almost impossible to play 4 days in a row. I mean, just human instinct.
And after the end of a grueling regular season schedule, right?
Correct.
And then you turn around and you're traveling and you're going wherever you're going for the NCAA tournament. So fresh legs, I agree. That's a huge plus. And I think Vanderbilt is now healthier than they were mid-season, but the extra time to get them rest should be good.
Well, then it's all about matchups too. And so the brackets, so even when you're looking at March Madness, like to listeners out there, as you fill out your brackets, like matchups play such an important part too. So like, right now, is anybody in the country playing as good as Florida? Absolutely not. I would say right now they're the best team in the country. Well, if Vanderbilt's fortunate to win, which Tennessee's going to be a hard matchup. We've seen how close those two battles have been over the last 3 weeks. But, you draw Florida in a semifinal game. I mean, I don't think you would want to see Florida anywhere in your bracket. You look also down Arkansas is a tough matchup for Vanderbilt with their length and their athleticism, where other teams maybe you match up better against. And so I think, Tennessee will be a tough matchup just naturally because of the rivalry. But then you draw Florida with their size and their athleticism and their length. That's a bad matchup for Vanderbilt in the semifinals as well, because Vanderbilt's so guard heavy and so guard dependent. And that size for Florida can combat that and really create some trouble for them as well.
I think you bring up such a great point about the matchups, right? And we can literally foresee them coming in the SEC tournament with the bracket and who plays who. When it comes to March Madness, you refer to anybody that's filling out their bracket, right? Okay, here we go. What a lot of non-sports fans or non-crazy basketball fans, they love March Madness for the bracket, for the upsets, for the spontaneity. So how about this? matchups, would you say that's the number one thing you want to look for when you're filling out your bracket for March Madness?
Yeah, I would look at matchups, and then there's 3 metrics. If I could coach anybody, is that okay if we
yes,
coach it up?
I love it. Okay.
So if you look historically over the NCAA tournament since advanced analytics have been in play, there's 3 criteria that you need to really look for in the Final Four team. Like, yeah, you can look at the Cinderellas, look at the upsets, although I do think they're getting less and less in this modern day world of athletics. I think the good teams are getting better, and I think the gap is widening. And so first things first, you need to look at top 20 offensive efficient teams, meaning you can pull up any website and just pull up a ranking and look at teams that fit in the top 120. Secondly, you need to look at a team defensively that's in the top 50. So look at teams that hit in both of those criteria. And then the third analytic you overlay is strength of schedule. And that needs to be within the top 60. So you look at top 20, top 50, top 60. Well, right now, if you pulled that up, if we had a computer in front of us, Jill, there would be about 5 teams right now that would fit within those criteria. It's Duke, it's Arizona, it's Michigan, it's Florida, and it's UConn. I would say that mixture will be your 4 number 1 seeds, but you need to start to look and circle that those teams are going to ultimately end up playing their way out deep into the bracket.
Because of those 3 criteria.
Those 3 criteria,
They're
that's right.
tested in the regular season, right?
Yes.
Strength of schedule, offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency.
That's right. And
they all come together. That's a complete team.
Yeah, because you could look at like somebody like naturally in a 1-game matchup, an upset would be like somebody like High Point or Northern Iowa who would fit within maybe 1 or 2 of those categories, but the strength of schedule would throw them out and filter them out. And so you really got to take into consideration who they have played as well. So it goes back to the matchup piece of, are they tested? Are they battle tested? Now in a single game environment, pressure gets high, fear starts to enter the game. It's late in the game. You can start to feel that tension. Sure, we've seen the upsets. I mean, that's why we love March. But I think at the end of it, in terms of advancing all the way to the Sweet 16 and to the Final Four, to the final game, to the national champion, I think good teams, those particular teams, those brands will rise up to the top.
So if those are the teams you're picking to go, okay, they're going to make deep runs, right? Hopefully Vanderbilt is in there too, right? Then how do you spot or sniff an upset?
Yeah,
especially in those early rounds.
So you look, I'm a numbers driven guy, so I would look at those analytics. I already gave you 2 teams that I would start to look at. Look at High Point, look at Northern Iowa, look at St. Louis. Would be one that you would be like, St. Louis, really? I'm like, yeah, they're 27-4 and they won the A10. Like, that is a great basketball conference. They fit within those criteria. So start to look at those types of teams. And that is where it may be, because you're going to have to pick an upset. You're going to have to pick a 12 seed. We know historically a 12 seed is going to win. Probably a 13 seed is going to win. So I hope Vanderbilt's going to fall as a 4 or a 5. So they're going to play a 12 or 13 seed. So let's all pick Vanderbilt and make sure we bring good karma for that. No upset there. But you do need to start to look at that. Like, you need to make sure, like, which one of those matchups do you feel the best about? Look at the analytics, kind of lay them on top of each other, and then look at the matchup and just start to say, oh, okay, that makes some sense. But you're going to have to punch in at least 1 or 2 of the upsets and hope you hit it right.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, is the secret to March Madness. Filling out your bracket. No, I loved all of that. I'm just like taking notes in my head. I'm going to go back and re-listen to this episode and be like, yep, okay, you said High Point, you said Northern Iowa, got it.
Yes.
No, I think that's so much fun. And like you said, there really is no way to get it all right because of the upsets, because of how many teams, because of everything that's involved. And that's why we love it so much. That's why it's madness.
It's just the best time of year. I mean, and now I'm a little bit biased because I'm a just diehard of college basketball.
Right.
But I just think the spontaneity, the upset nature. It's a 1-game elimination. As somebody that's been on both sides of it, we've won state championships and we've lost in state finals. I've experienced both sides of it, and the incredible excitement and joy and elation, but also the heartbreak as well. And knowing what that's like and what that feels like, it's just the best time of year.
Before we let you go, Drew, let's finish with our In My Opinion segment. This is where free range. It doesn't have to be about basketball. It doesn't have to be about March Madness. Whatever has been on your mind lately, you're passionate about, or lighting a fire underneath you, whatever it is, what is your latest opinion?
My latest opinion would be,
It would almost be a call to action or a challenge. And it's something that's my lasting message that I give people. And I believe this, and this is my opinion, that every single person that can hear our voices today was created for specific and unique winning. And I believe that every single day when you wake up, you get the opportunity to live, and you get the opportunity to soak in life and to breathe in life and to go experience life in a unique way. My challenge or my call to action is, what does that look like for you? How can you specifically chase after winning in the way that you were created to go and live it? And so I see so many people playing small. I see so many people settling. I see so many people playing defense with their lives. And I would say, man, let's flip that on its head. All gas, no brake. Play offense with your life, and let's go big or go home. But you were created to win. You were created for impact. You were created to be a game changer.
Wow. That was pretty good. That's a pretty good opinion, Drew. No, seriously. I'm getting goosebumps just listening to you. You have your own book, and I know you do a lot of public speaking as well. That I'm assuming is a major message in that. Create your own winning. I love that.
Yeah. So we've written a book called Elevated. I've written a book called Excavated. I've written a Psalms 23 devotional with my daughter Ava, and I just published a little ebook called Get To, which is the power, 2 words that can unlock gratitude in your life. It was a story my grandfather back to Vanderbilt called me one night. He was dying of cancer, and I was complaining about what I had to do that next day, and he said, I'm tired of hearing what you have to do. I want to hear what you get to do. And those 2 words completely changed my life.
Stuck with you for the rest of your life. And have helped you create your own sense of winning.
That's right.
I really like that as a former athlete myself. It's not everything can compute to wins and losses, but when it comes to your daily attitude, when it comes to what you can control, right?
Yes.
We can't control a lot of things, but the things we can control, our attitude, our outlook, how we treat people, how we can create an impact on people. That's something we can control. And I love the idea of if we're winning there, we're winning.
That's right.
Period. And I think bringing you on the podcast is winning because I think this was so much fun. I really, really appreciate you coming on. It's
super honored.
So obvious how much of an impact you've had on the Nashville community sports scene here, Vanderbilt athletics. I know so many people through you that also know you, speak so highly of you, Drew, and it's just an honor to have you here. You are a Nashville Game Changer.
Yeah, thank you, Jill. I love it. Pound.
Thanks so much for listening to the Nashville Game Changers podcast. Be sure to tune in next week for our new guest. And as always, be sure to check us out on social media and YouTube. And when you're there, please like and subscribe.